Any man, any man who think he's too good to continue learning will eventually be a bum. I see this a lot. I see this a lot often. It's not even necessarily just men. In society, when people start to get older, they don't want to continue to learn. This is why I have respect for older people who continues to learn, who understand I need to learn from either younger, I need to learn from young people too. See, this is why I can even sit down with a kid and learn something from a little kid. I see how a kid operate with pure conviction. Learning never ends. So anybody that thinks they're past the age of learning, well, they're doomed. This ties into learning selectively. I'm not telling you to learn from other people that do not have great results or don't even know what they're talking about. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying learning never ends because it don't. It's a steady learning, gradual process. Even with business, with success, women, finances, being in relationships, everything is a continual learning process. And the people who never continue to learn are the people who fail. Think about it back in school when you had those people who actually went home and did the homework and actually studied, who actually studied or read the actual books of what you were required to read, they were usually the ones winning in class. They were usually the ones prepared winning in class. So now that starts to translate in the real world. If you can have that competitive edge, if you can have that competitive advantage in learning that learning never ends, well, you win. You win because you can never know too much. You can never understand too much. There is infinite, vast amount of information. As soon as you start on one particular subject, it's vast more to that particular subject. So it's kind of like it never ends. It's like a ramp of infinity. And I think that's a good thing. We can never really be the best, not version of ourselves, but we can never truly know our full capacity as much as we try to reach it and know to reach it. But perhaps we can by a certain age because that's the cap of our limited knowledge, but still it never ends. So anybody that thinks they're too old to learn or too arrogant to learn, I can't stand these people. That's why I have a respect for some people. But I'm naming one person particularly, my uncle. He still learns. And people I met at church, they will sit down, old people who you would think wouldn't hear you out. They will sit down and hear your ideas and beliefs about things or they're coming asking me, what should we do about X, Y, and Z? Because they understand the value that people have. They understand the value that you have. So I think people who always learn are more, not necessarily open minded, not in the bad sense of being open minded, but they're still learnable. Like they're still teachable. They understand, like, okay, everything that I know may not be right. I can still learn from this person. I can learn from that person. I can learn from people younger than me. I can learn from people older than me. Because I never truly liked that. I never truly liked people who you could not teach anything. I can't stand talking to those type of people. I can't. I genuinely can't. Because they have a standpoint of they can't learn. They just can't. They don't learn anything on a daily basis. Most of their ideas, they just grasp it from somewhere. They don't think it out. They don't even really dive deep into the ideas that they have. These are the type of people you can't really teach. The ideas that they hold firm to those ideas, but it makes them unteachable. The ideas that hold firm to don't even be right. So you can't teach these people anything. And that's where you start to lose yourself in life. Because a lot of people look at younger people as if they don't know anything. A lot of people look at older people as if they don't know anything. I know I can learn from anything from anybody at any age. I can walk outside and see a baby with his mother, and I can learn something from the situation. That's how learnable you need to be if you truly want to compete and succeed. I learned this from the book of Proverbs. Wisdom cry out everywhere. That means wisdom is everywhere. You can learn something from anything. So I can learn from a baby. I can see how the baby is demanding milk from his mother with pure conviction. So this is just how I am, and this is why I've always have a competitive edge because I'm always learning. My 7-year-old niece can come to me with something, and I will sit and learn from her. This is how learnable I am. I'm not telling you to learn wrong things. I'm not telling you that. I'm saying figure out how you can learn from each situation that you're in. Figure out how you can learn from everyday life. This is how you get ahead. Nobody is truly getting wisdom from their everyday life. They think you need to go out and do just a bunch of different things for wisdom to happen. No, Proverbs said it best. Wisdom is everywhere. You just can't hear it. You just can't see it. See, I see wisdom everywhere. Wisdom all in my mind. I told you on another previous video, I said I wake up 2 bitches next to me. Courage over here, wisdom over here. Wake up, push them off, boom, 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 boom. Get dressed, put my chains on, come speak to my massive online empire. This is how I am. I'm 2P. So, in fact, just a quick tangent. Should I go by 2P or top P? I kind of like 2P. I'm 2P. I kind of like that. Maybe perhaps that might stick. I don't know. Top P or 2P. Let me know. But anyways, no, it is very important that you learn. If you're not constantly learning, you can live behind. Because when you learn, you get 1% better. Every time you learn, it's feedback. Reality is feedback. Everything around you, it can be a lesson in it if you take it that way. So this is why I say you need to be very approachable and you need to be very open to the point where you can receive rebuke. A lot of people can't receive rebuke. They have a rebuttal. And when you talk to certain people, you can just hear when you speak to them that they're only preparing something back to say. They're not learning or hearing you or understanding what you're saying. They are just listening to you so they can have something back to say. So I truly want you to start analyzing your conversations, analyzing who you can teach, analyze who can teach you, because a lot of the times, and also you need to decipher the information of what people are trying to teach you. A lot of the information, especially when it comes from women, a lot of the information are just something that they've heard. They never truly really just thought these things out. So you need to dissect what information is good and what information is harmful, because a lot of people it's women and weak men and children. You need to decipher the information of what you hear. You need to break it down truly before you accept it, because that's just how the world works. That's just how it works. Every strong man had to be in lead of his household, have to understand where their ideas and beliefs are coming from, because society will purport emotional arguments on purpose, or they'll purport wrong ideals so they can infiltrate the family. And the way that they come in through the family, they don't come through the men. They don't come through the family through the strong men. They have to come through in a way which they can come through. They come through women and children. So you need to understand that. You need to be constantly learning from every single second of your life. Every single day, I'm learning. In fact, which I think is very, very healthy, especially in your 20s, to learn more than you speak. I didn't start speaking until I started learning. I said this on the previous video, one of these videos. I didn't start speaking. I was quiet my whole life. I barely spoke. If you can go back, I can ask anybody in my family. I used to just smile. I used to smile, do a little laugh. I never really used to talk. The reason I didn't used to talk, because I was in a learning phase. I just was learning everything, analyzing everybody, analyzing body language. I was just learning. I didn't start to speak until I got to a point where I felt convicted in the stuff that I knew, because I have studied the stuff so long and I've deciphered it so long that I know what the information that I'm saying is true. And this is why a lot of people can't debate me, because I only talk about things that I know is true. So that's why when people think I'm arrogant or I think I know it all and this and that, I'm just like, no, I don't think I know it all. In this particular subject, I know it all. I'm not going to talk about subjects I don't know about. And this is the problem. We have a lot of people who talk about things they don't even know. You don't know it. You haven't put in the hours. A lot of people think that this is not necessary. They think that putting in hours towards something is not necessary. They think that they can just you just learn something for a little bit, or you see it here, you see it on YouTube. You just no, you need hours of research. These people, they don't understand deciphering opinions and ideas and facts. This stuff has to be deciphered. You can't just pick this stuff up and take it and run with it. No, you have to sit down. You have to decipher everything you're learning. This is where these people fail. This is why I'm perpetually always ahead of everybody. I only talk about situations and things I know about. I'm not going to speak on anything that I don't know. And that is the most humblest thing you can do as a human being. If there's something you don't know about, don't speak on it, because you open yourself up to dumb stuff, dumb shit. You open yourself up to being stupid, because it doesn't make sense for you to talk about something you've never done, or have ideas about things you've never done, or you haven't did the deep study. You need to do deep thinking. And a lot of people don't think deep. And this is why I say you need to be careful when learning from people. They don't think deep about none of their ideals. They don't. They just carry it and they just say it, they speak it out. But then when you question and you get down to the basis, where did you learn this from? They can't tell you. And a lot of them think it's their own opinion. A lot of the times it's not. So I said, you have to be careful. You have to be very, very careful of learning from people who are constantly on their phone. I'm being very serious. I'm being very serious. I'm not being funny. You have to be careful from learning from people who's constantly distracted on their phone, Netflix, TV shows. It's just people, society in general. You have to be careful, because these people will pick up things which they think is theirs, but they got it from some TV show, something has taught them that, and they don't know what it is. I had a conversation with a kid. The kid is about the kid was like 10, 12 years old. And I'm talking to the kid, and the kid is having thoughts and beliefs and ideas about things which they have not studied. And I started to recognize some adults is exactly like this too. How do you have strong beliefs and opinions about beliefs and ideals you don't even know where it came from? It came from the enemy. So some people has genuinely been tricked against their own mind. So I refuse to allow myself to adopt the thinking of people who can't even dissect their own beliefs. Every single belief I hold, I know where it came from. I know who it came from, what source of information, if I learned it from a book, if I learned it from this person, that person. Every single belief I hold, I know where it came from. So if anybody wants to question my beliefs, I can show them exactly where it came from, but they can't show me where they got their beliefs from. They can't show me. They can't show me. So this is why I say you need to be careful learning from certain people, because a lot of people don't think things through and they just spout things back. And most of the things that they speak is harmful, not even in a way of damaging people. It's just wrong ideals which they think are true, but don't know why you hold this idea as true. Who told you this? They told me this. Who was they? The Matrix. The Matrix has convinced them of certain ideas and beliefs, which they now believe is theirs. And this is why I'm saying, when you are a strong-minded individual, this really is goes for women as well. If you're a strong-minded woman, if let's say a woman have to leave her household, if you're a strong-minded woman, if you're a strong-minded man, you're going to have to be the one that starts to dissect some of these beliefs. You're going to have people coming to you with ideas and opinions and beliefs that is not true, that steals their success away from them, and they don't even know it, but you know it. So that's why it's like you have to be learnable, because you have to be able to learn. These people that have these ideas and beliefs they hold so strongly onto, they are not teachable. Can't teach these people anything, because how can you teach somebody something which in an area they don't even have expertise in, or spent enough time in an area you have spent enough time in? They think they're as competent as you in that area, even though you put in the time. This is just arrogancy. But it's fake false arrogancy. It's fake competence. It's like they download a certain mental competence in their mind. They don't understand how reality works. In reality, you have to put in work. You have to put in work for everything. The strong body I have to put in work for. And it's exactly like this. Just look at my strong body. The strong body, I have put hours into honing and training my body. But some skinny nerd who never trained in his life will come and tell me workout tips. Figure out who you're learning from. Do you understand? Figure out who you're learning from. Start to learn from people who are competent, or at least is knowledgeable and competent, who's competent at learning that specific knowledge. Because a lot of people are not, and you're getting led by people who are not competent at even getting knowledge. Like they don't even know the simplest method as to honing and sitting down and saying this belief maybe perhaps is not right. They can't do that. They're too attached. They're too attached to their ideas and beliefs to the point where there's not an opposite side of which they can understand. See, when I'm having conversations with people, I understand there could be opposite sides. But if their side is wrong, I'm going to tell them their side is wrong. No, that ain't true. That ain't true. Where did you get that from? You don't know. But these people can't be helped. And this is the saddest part of Matrix. This is the saddest part of reality. People can't be helped. The only way they can be helped is if God allow it. But even if God allow it, go back to all of the stories in the Bibles. A lot of people shut their ears and close their eyes because they don't want to hear anything. They don't want to hear what you have to say because they view you a certain way. So you need to understand, a lot of the people who aren't teachable in your reality, they view you a certain way. So you need to actually start to work on your competence, understand who is teachable and who's not, and you need to carefully craft your situations, only talking to people about real things, things that will help you in the future. Start to craft your reality that way, because that's what you're going to need. Those are the conversations you're going to need to have. You don't need to be talking about video games and all this different stuff, trying to dumb yourself down for other people, because they don't want to talk about the topics you want to talk about. They want to talk about BS. You can't get anywhere with those type of people. That's why I love the book of Proverbs. If you hang, your circle is important. He said, if you listen to wise counsel, you can become like that. Start to listen to wise counsel. Counsel. Start to listen to the strong men in your life. A lot of people don't even listen to the strong people in their life. They don't. So you have to sit and question, if these people are not teachable, well, you need to talk to new information. You need to talk to new people, not new information. You need to get new information. You need to talk to new people. Talk to people who you can actually have these conversations with, which is why I opened up the free Telegram, t.me/Preme Operations. There's a bunch of us in there who understand this information, and we can all talk about these same things. because I can't stand being around people where I have to dumb myself down. I refuse to dumb myself down. I refuse to have conversations about mundane things. What do you mean we can't talk about money? You don't want to talk about money all day? Something is wrong. You don't want to talk about money, making success, getting successful, making more money, getting successful, working on your belief. You don't want to talk about that. What do you want to talk about? Garbage? It's stupid to me. I remember I had somebody, I'm having a conversation about the same stuff. I'm talking about the realities of the world. I'm saying how the world is, how we making money, how to make money, do this and that. They said you need to keep business and personal life separate. These people are slaves and can't be helped. You can't help these people. How can you help people who don't even want to? We need to get out. We're in a prison. Why am I the only one there? See, it's like fishes in a fish tank who don't even realize they're in a fish tank, bumping their head against the glass and don't even realize it. So this is why when I escaped, I knew exactly who could be free and who couldn't. And reality has a funny way of showing itself. It's how God works. Has a very funny way of showing itself of who can be free and who can't. And that's why I said the saddest thing apart about reality is seeing that some people would never get free. And I took mental notes on all of this as I was coming up. As I was coming up and I was learning all this stuff, and I'm trying to tell people, and people wasn't listening, and people was shaking their head, people was laughing, and reality starts slapping them in the face. Reality will always slap these people in the face. So I want you to understand, reality will show itself, and it will. Because I know a lot of you we think similar, of course, because that's why you're listening to this. So the people who don't want to listen to you, they can't. They're just put there in your reality to not listen to you. Go back and read the biblical prophecies. Go back and read the biblical stories. All of the prophets, the people in their hometown or in their households, or people who thought they knew them, or they went into certain countries and certain regions. The people didn't want to listen to them. They couldn't. So some people are just put there to not listen to you, to test you. So that's how you need to look at it. You always need to be learnable. You need to continue to learn. All of those who continue to learn is inside the free telegram, t.me/Preme operations. You know where to find us. Stay learnable. Stay learning. Be able to dissect your beliefs. Be able to dissect your ideas. Understand where this idea came from. Where did this one come from? Okay, is this my thoughts? Is this self-doubt my actual thoughts? Am I thinking this or have it come from somewhere else? Somewhere else. And that's the saddest part. A lot of people truly don't understand that most of our thoughts and ideals and beliefs have been given to us from somewhere else. And that is the reason why they keep attaching themselves so mentally. And so they keep attaching themselves. I'm closing, but that's the big point I want to make. This is why it's important you keep learning. People keep attaching themselves to ideas which are not theirs, who have been given to them by the enemy. It's funny to me. So I want you to start to question people in your reality. Ask them, where did you get this belief from? They told me. You start to question them. Who is they? And you start to know. It's the Matrix. The Matrix has told them their beliefs. The only way out is if you take control of what's yours and you break them free. That is the way out. And until then, they'll possibly stay trapped. So you need to be the chosen one that you are and break everyone out of the spiritual matrix. But I want you to understand something. It's the last point. Not everybody can be free. Not all minds are ready to be free. And not all minds will be free. So you need to understand that fundamental truth.